The Balochistan insurgency is a complex and long-standing conflict with deep historical roots. At its heart lies the forced incorporation of Balochistan into Pakistan in 1948. The Baloch people, with their distinct culture and language, had long sought independence. This desire was ignored when Pakistan was created, leading to immediate resistance and sowing the seeds of resentment that continue to this day. The discovery of vast mineral resources in Balochistan further fueled tensions. The Baloch people, who largely remained impoverished, saw little benefit from the exploitation of their land. They watched as outsiders profited from their resources while they continued to struggle. This economic marginalization, coupled with political exclusion and social discrimination, created a fertile ground for insurgency. Over the decades, the Pakistani government has responded to Baloch grievances with force. Military operations, often characterized by human rights abuses, have been met with fierce resistance. The heavy-handed tactics of the Pakistani state have only served to deepen the resentment and mistrust between the Baloch people and the central government. This cycle of violence and repression has created a deeply entrenched conflict with no easy solutions. The historical grievances, coupled with the Pakistani state's failure to address the root causes of the insurgency, continue to fuel the unrest in Balochistan. At the forefront of the Balochistan insurgency is the Balochistan Liberation Army, or BLA. Formed in the early 2000s, the BLA aims for an independent Balochistan, free from Pakistani occupation. They use guerrilla tactics and target Pakistani military installations and government buildings. The BLA denies targeting civilians despite accusations. The international community is divided on classifying the BLA. Pakistan and others label the BLA as terrorists, citing attacks on civilians. The BLA claims they are freedom fighters against an oppressive state. Their actions have significantly impacted the conflict, drawing international attention. The Balochistan insurgency has been marked by decades of violence and repression. From the initial uprisings after Pakistan's independence to the present day, the conflict has ebbed and flowed, but never truly subsided. Key incidents highlight the brutality and complexity of the struggle. The 1970s saw a surge in violence as the Pakistani military launched a major operation to crush the insurgency. The conflict escalated again in the early 2000s, fueled by the US-led invasion of Afghanistan and Pakistan's subsequent role in the war on terror. The BLA gained strength during this period, carrying out numerous attacks on Pakistani security forces. The year 2018 witnessed a particularly brazen attack when the BLA targeted the Chinese consulate in Karachi. This attack, which resulted in multiple casualties, marked a turning point in the conflict, signaling the BLA's willingness to target foreign interests. The Pakistani government responded with a wave of arrests and military operations, further inflaming tensions. In 2025, the BLA carried out a daring attack, hijacking a train and taking over 400 passengers hostage. This siege, which resulted in the deaths of approximately 30 hostages, shocked the nation and underscored the BLA's ability to strike at the heart of Pakistan. The attack also demonstrated the increasingly audacious tactics employed by the insurgents. The Balochistan conflict has increasingly drawn in external actors, most notably China. China's investment in the China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, or CPEC, a massive infrastructure project that runs through Balochistan, has become a flashpoint in the conflict. The BLA views CPEC as a project that primarily benefits Pakistan and China, with little regard for the Baloch people. They argue that CPEC will further marginalize the Baloch, turning them into a minority in their own land. The BLA has vowed to target CPEC projects, seeing them as legitimate targets in their struggle for independence. China, for its part, is determined to protect its investments in CPEC. The Chinese government has increased security around its projects and personnel in Balochistan. The presence of Chinese security forces has further angered the Baloch people, who see it as a foreign power encroaching on their land. The involvement of China has added a new layer of complexity to the Balochistan conflict. It has raised the stakes for all parties involved and heightened the potential for the conflict to escalate further. The internationalization of the conflict, with China now a major player, makes finding a solution even more challenging. Section 5. A region on edge. Balochistan's impact on regional stability. The Balochistan insurgency has far-reaching implications for regional stability. Pakistan's relations with Afghanistan and Iran have been strained by the conflict. Both countries share borders with Balochistan and have been accused of supporting Baloch separatists. Afghanistan has long been a haven for Baloch insurgents. The porous border allows for the easy movement of fighters and weapons. Pakistan accuses Afghanistan of harboring BLA militants. Iran, too, has been drawn into the conflict. Iran's Sistan and Balochistan province is home to a significant Baloch population. The BLA has carried out attacks inside Iran, prompting a harsh response. The cross-border nature of the insurgency has increased tensions between Iran and Pakistan. The Balochistan conflict has the potential to destabilize the entire region. The involvement of external actors and terrorist groups poses significant security threats. A peaceful resolution is crucial for regional stability. Section 6. Can Islamabad quench the fire? The challenges of finding a solution. Finding a lasting solution to the Balochistan insurgency is daunting. The conflict is deeply entrenched, fueled by decades of mistrust and violence. The Pakistani government faces a complex challenge in addressing the root causes while maintaining security. One main challenge is the lack of trust between the Baloch people and the Pakistani government. The Baloch people feel marginalized and ignored by the central government. Building trust is essential for meaningful dialogue. Another challenge is the presence of hardliners on both sides. Within the Baloch movement, some are committed to an independent Balochistan. On the Pakistani side, powerful elements favor a military solution. The international community also has a role to play. External actors like China need careful management to prevent escalation. International pressure can encourage meaningful dialogue and a peaceful resolution. Section 7. The costs of conflict development stalled people suffering. The ongoing conflict in Balochistan has come at a heavy cost. The violence has claimed the lives of thousands of people, both Baloch and Pakistani. The cycle of violence and repression has created a climate of fear and insecurity, displacing families and disrupting communities. The conflict has also had a devastating impact on the province's development. Balochistan, already one of Pakistan's poorest provinces, has seen its economy crippled by the unrest. Investment has dried up, infrastructure projects have been stalled, and basic services have been disrupted. The people of Balochistan are the ones who suffer the most from this conflict. They are caught in the crossfire, their lives and livelihoods at risk. Children are denied access to education, healthcare systems are overwhelmed, and basic necessities are scarce. The conflict has created a generation scarred by violence and deprived of opportunity. Section 8. A way forward, dialogue, development and reconciliation. Despite the challenges, there is still hope for a peaceful resolution to the Balochistan conflict, a multi-pronged approach that addresses the root causes of the insurgency while also addressing the legitimate security concerns of the Pakistani state is essential. Dialogue is crucial. The Pakistani government must engage in meaningful and inclusive dialogue with all stakeholders in Balochistan, including Baloch nationalist leaders. This dialogue should address the Baloch people's political, economic and social grievances. It is essential that the Baloch people feel heard and that their concerns are taken seriously. Alongside dialogue, there's a need for a comprehensive development plan for Balochistan. The Pakistani government must prioritize the economic and social development of the province, ensuring that the benefits of development reach all segments of society. This includes investing in education, healthcare, infrastructure, and job creation. Reconciliation is also key. Addressing past injustices and human rights abuses is essential for healing the wounds of the conflict. This includes investigating and holding accountable those responsible for human rights violations, providing justice and compensation to victims, and working to build trust and understanding between communities. Section 9. The future of Balochistan. A crossroads of hope and uncertainty. The future of Balochistan hangs in the balance. The province stands at a crossroads with the potential for both peace and further conflict. The choices made by the Pakistani government, the Baloch people and the international community will determine the path Balochistan takes. A continuation of the current cycle of violence and repression will only lead to further suffering and instability. It is a path that benefits no one and will only deepen the divisions that fuel the conflict. The only way forward is through dialogue, development, and reconciliation. The Pakistani government must demonstrate its commitment to finding a peaceful solution by addressing the legitimate grievances of the Baloch people. The Baloch people, in turn, must be willing to engage in dialogue and work towards a shared future. The international community can play a constructive role by supporting efforts to promote dialogue and reconciliation. The stakes are high. A peaceful and prosperous Balochistan is in the interest of not only the Baloch people but also Pakistan and the wider region. The time for action is now.
So hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications, and let's turn the page on a new adventure together. Get ready to experience books like never before, only on VBook 360. Like, comment, and share to support the channel and keep the video magic alive. Thank you for stopping by. And remember, every video has a story, and every story deserves to be shared. See you in the next video.